Hi, this is Mr. Berryman. I know that many of you have been struggling with the Microsoft Access projects. I put this video together to help you complete the comprehensive project for Microsoft Access. Remember, this project is required to be completed in order for you to receive a grade in the class. The individual projects on SAM are worth 25 points each, and there are 3 of those. The comprehensive project is worth 100 points. I hope this video helps you. First, you need to open up Angel, log in, and get the instructions for the Access project. Select the Lessons folder, then the Other Assignments folder, then the Comprehensive Project folder, and then last, the Comprehensive Project Access folder. You'll be presented with the instructions that are required for this. It'd probably be best if you go ahead and print these instructions out and follow along as I go through it. Let's take a quick look through the assignment. You're going to be creating an Access database that includes 2 tables, each containing at least 4 unique items or records, and each record having 4 unique fields. 2 queries. These queries, one will be a join between the 2 tables. That's where you have a commonality between, and we'll discuss that more later. One will include criteria, and the last portion is to have a formatted report. Sticking with the example that you've been using for the Word and Excel project, we're talking about a foreign exchange program. And what we selected for the example tables, the first one is a list of attractions, and then the second one is a list of cities and what type of transportation is available in those cities. So let's start walking through actually building this out. When you're ready to begin, go ahead and start Microsoft Access, and let's create a new project file. You're going to leave the default to the blank database when it starts, and in here on the right-hand side, type in a file name. I'm calling mine Comprehensive Project. Once that's ready, go ahead and click Create, and you're going to be presented with a blank table that has no fields and has no information in it. So for the first part of the assignment, we're going to be creating 2 tables. I'm going to go ahead and type in some information that's going to match similar to what you see in the example in the instructions. I'm not going to put all the data in. I'm going to leave that to you to do for your own. But this is just to get it so you can see what kind of information we're looking for and how you're going to put it into Access. So I'm going to create a field, and my first one is going to be the attraction name. So when I created it, I selected it was going to be text, and I typed in attraction. And for my second one, again, I'm just creating the field. I'm not putting in the data yet. The second one I'm going to call street address. And for my third one, this is the city. And again, all the type of data that I'm selecting is text. This fourth one, I want to go and get the currency in, the admission cost. So I selected currency, and I've typed in admission price. And then for my last one, I'm going to go and create one for the website. Again, the example has more fields, and your fields may be different. You may not decide to use the attractions, but it has to be something related to your foreign exchange program. So once I have my fields in place, I'm going to start filling in some information. So just kind of using what's in the first one, I'm going to go with the British Museum. So I type in British Museum for the attraction. Street address is going to be Great Russell Street. It's in London. For the admission price, I'm going to put in $9.67. And I just realized that I forgot to include the euros because I want to have both the US dollar value and the euro. So all I have to do is right mouse click and insert a new field. And I'm inserting a new field as a text type, and now I'm typing in the admission in euros. Now, if I were just to type in 750, it would come in dollars. So before I type it, I want to first go to the Format menu and change the format to euros. Now when I type it in, it's in the correct currency. And then finally, I'm going to type in the website. Now I'm just putting in some test information so that we have some more data to work with in this example. For your assignment, you will be required to have 4 rows of data and at least 4 fields. You can see with the fields, I'm going to count the ID as 1, and this actually gives us 7 fields. And I only have 2 rows of data, so obviously if this were my assignment, I would lose points. But this is just an example. Now for the second part, we need to make a second table. So what I did is I went to the Create menu at the top and selected Table. And again, I get a blank table. If you look at the tabs, you can see the word Attractions and then Table 1. So the Attractions table is still open. So for my second table, I'm going to talk about the transportation available in cities that might be in my area. So for my example, I'm doing some sort of a program that's in Europe. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in some information with some European cities. So first we have to create our fields. So I have a city, country, and the transportation type. And that's all the fields that I need because ID counts as 1. That's our primary key. So for the City of London, which is in the United Kingdom, I'm going to go ahead and put in that there's bus, rail, and taxi available. And this extra field here, we're just going to go ahead and delete it because I don't need that anymore. Now I'm going to go ahead and build my first query. A query is when the program will actually look for information in the tables. So for my example, I'm going to go with it. I want to look up all the attractions that cost less than a certain dollar value. So first what I do is I'm going to just do a simple query. I'm going to use the wizard. It's just the easiest way to build it. I select Table Attractions. And for my what comes out of the query, I'm just going to select some of the fields. I don't need to see everything, so let's go with the attraction, the city, and the admission cost in euros. Now, when I initially made this, I was using the example of admission price where everything was less than 10 euros. So I'm going to go ahead and modify one of the attractions so that we can see what this looks like when I change the query. So the query right now is just showing the data from the attractions table. So let's modify the criteria. So I go to the design view, which again, I'm using the buttons in the bottom right-hand corner. I go over to the admission in euros, and I type in less than 10 for my criteria. So when I'm done with that, now I want to go back to the actual table view. And again, I'm using the bottom right-hand corner, and I select the right view. Now when I look at my table, I only see one attraction because in the attraction table, only one attraction is less than 10 euros. The other one that I called test is more than 10 euros, so it doesn't come up in the query. That's all a query is. And if you demonstrate something like this in your query, that's all I need to see. This is a query using criteria, the criteria being less than 10 euros.